All right, we're here, the first edition of the Leijeigh Williams podcast here on KNOCKINZ. We'll be here going through the weekend's activity, and we're here right after the Monday night match. First match we want to go is tonight. One Love Harbourview versus Dunbeholding. What you make out of that match?
Yeah, I think for the most part, Harbourview looked much improved. I think that they were pretty efficient out of possession, and in possession they showed a lot of composure. But I think a lot of that is down to the players that they would have in their ranks. Demar Rose, Trayvon Reed, obviously, and they have a stretcher in Rowan Brown, someone who's always going to stretch at last line. So I think all in all, they have a good profile of players. It's just all about getting everything to click at the right time. And it clicked tonight for the most part. Dunbeholding looked good in patches, but I think Harbourview looked decent. It's just about building on that and getting better as time goes on.
Dunbeholding had a fast start to the season, unlike last year, but now they seem like they're faltering a little bit. What you make out of it?
I think it's just down to growing pains. They still lack a bit of quality in midfield areas. So I do think that over time it could get better. It's just about profiling the team properly and maybe even in January getting in a couple more midfielders. I think they need it.
And second match now, on to the second match, which was the last match of the round. Arnett versus Treasure Beach. Treasure Beach, who are not new to the league, but definitely with a new team. What you make out of that match? They lost. They won, but Arnett lost. 1-0 to a penalty. What you make out of the match?
Yeah, I think Arnett Gardens overall, they have looked a bit shaky defensively practically all season, conceding goals. Very unlike them, but it is a new coach. Maybe Philip Williams needs a little bit of extra time to get things right. Treasure Beach, I've been impressed with them in totality, really. I think the first thing you need to do when you come into a league like this is make sure that your team is ready to compete physically, and they've done that very well. They've appointed a very good head coach in Coach Ricketts. I think that he's very tactically astute. I think all in all, he outcoached Philip Williams tonight, especially out of possession, what they did in their man-to-man press, destabilized Arnett's entire midfield area. And then up top, I think they have real quality. Although he didn't score tonight, I think Porter is a very good striking talent. I think they have options coming off of the bench and just good experienced players. I think at the back, they were pretty good as well with Titus. So I think they can do some good stuff in the league this season and hopefully enough to stay up.
All right, well said. Let us move on now to Saturday's action. And we're going to start with the hottest match. Well, the most competitive match, even though it ended 0-0, and that would be the derby there at Ferdinand Park. Both sides will be using it as their home, and it was fitting that the derby was there, and it was the opening day as Ferdinand recently renovated. What you make out of the match? 0-0 to both of them. It was basically at the start of the weekend, it was second versus third. Both sides seem a little bit very defensive, especially Portmore, who is known for the defense. But what do you make out of it?
Yeah, I think both teams are always going to be a little bit, I don't want to say scared of each other, but they're going to feel each other out at first. I think Racing, generally speaking, they have a lot of quality, but they're a transition team. They're always a team that's going to want to play on the transition, whether it be through direct counterattacks or creating artificial transitions, which is, to explain, is holding the ball deep and then baiting a press onto you and then trying to play into the space that the defending team would leave you. So I think all in all, Portmore were never going to be sucked into that because they are the best defensive team in the league. And I think this was always going to be a little bit inevitable. Racing, they've had a couple 0-0 draws as of late. Portmore struggling to score goals yet again. So an expected result. I do think that both teams will be in and around the playoff places, if not in them generally at the end of the season. So a good feeling out game for both.
That's, as you mentioned, Portmore and the defensive prowess. That's 6 clean sheets out of 7. What do you think about Stephen Young and co?
Yeah, I think they're a very good defensive group, but I think it all comes down to coaching. They're very well coached, not only in when people say a team keeping clean sheets, I think they only sit in a low block. I think they only want to play as deep as possible. Portmore are very good defending in all 3 phases of defensive football, set pieces, when they're defending low and also when they're pressing as well. So it's always going to be difficult to break them down.
All right, so that concludes the big derby. So we can go on now to another newly promoted team, Police, 2-2 with Molynes, here at Waterhouse, which would be Molynes' home ground, but they gave Police the home side. What do you make out of the match, 2-2?
I mean, an iffy game. I don't think Police are very good at the moment. I don't think that Molynes are playing the best right now. So it's a bit of a nothing game to me right now. I think Molynes will grow and get better. I don't think they'll necessarily get relegated. I think they have talent. So that's a wait and see game.
And what do you think about Police, as you mentioned, relegation?
I mean, it's unfortunate. I'm a Spanish Town man myself, so I want them to do well, but it's not looking positive right now.
All right, Chapelton Maroons, they actually kicked up a storm at the start of the season, but things looking like it calming down for them. The Premier League actually weathering the storm at the moment. That was 2-1 defeat at home to Mobay down at Turner Oval. Talk us through how you feel about that result.
Yeah, I think Mobay have been the best team in the league so far this season. Attacking wise, they're very good. They have a lot of talent in their team. Dwight Merrick has been almost a revelation. A lot of people didn't see this out of him. So it's just really good looking from Mobay. I expected them to beat Chapelton. They made it a little bit more difficult than it ought to be, but they did in the end, and I think they'll just keep on going from strength to strength.
And what do you think about Chapelton overall, knowing that same management, similar management from, what's it, sorry about that, my
Very
brain had a
United.
little, Very United, and now they're at Chapelton. Do you see they're learning from the mistakes last year? Do you think that they will put up a better fight and be looking towards top 6 instead of above relegation zone?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I think that when you think about what I mentioned earlier about being physically capable in the league, they look much more prepared this season, especially just because they're coached by Donovan Duque. I think that they're physically up to it. They're playing well. I don't think they'll get relegated, but I still think it will be playoffs will be a little bit of a stretch for them.
And now we're moving on to Edward Seaga Complex. Tivoli lost 2-0 to Cavaliers. What do you make out of both teams' start to the season?
I mean, Tivoli, it's always a rocky start because I think that they didn't have all of their players. Nikolai Fuller just coming back into the fray. Cavalier, I mean, they needed a rebound after being knocked out of the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup. They got that. They won. They needed that, so kudos to them.
Miss Dawn, let us talk about that. She resigned from Tivoli. What do you think going to make out of that now when they lose a president? Do you expect the team to, would it be a similar to a manager bounce when the new president come in, or do you think that it would be very rocky roads ahead for Tivoli?
It depends on who the next manager is.
President.
President is, yeah.
President is. Okay. Fair response. Let us move on then to, it would be our last match that we assess, and that would bring us back to where we are right here. Waterhouse and Mount Pleasant. What do you thought about that matchup?
Yeah, I think Waterhouse, they're a very good physical team. I think they did really well to stunt what Mount Pleasant wanted to do. It's hard to come here and play expansive football. Mount Pleasant play really well when they're passing through the thirds. Waterhouse always have a very compact 4-4-2 mid-block. Hard to play through, especially here. And that's really just what played out, honestly. It was an expected result as well. I expect both teams, especially Mount Pleasant, to go from strength to strength as well.
And what do you make around the overall league so far?
It's been good. I think it's been good. It's been exciting at times. I guess you'll be hearing me more often going forward, so
Definitely.
it will get even better.
All right, thank you so much today. It was very short today because it's an intro. So let us see how everyone. I know that they're missing you overall, seeing your face. You made a couple appearances here, and thanks for always having you here. And that concludes the Leijeigh Williams podcast, everyone, the first edition. So look out.